At all? Anything you can't get? As a housewife, I mean, any things that you would like to buy here that you can't buy because of sanctions?
Not really, no.
Yes, there's quite a lot of things you can't get, but then you take the next best, you know, and it doesn't seem to worry me.
I mean, over the last few years, when they've tried to make sanctions bite a bit harder, have you ever been without things?
No, I don't think so.
No, we've been without English stuff, but we can always get it somewhere else and from something else.
So you've never felt sanctions?
Not as far as I can think of, no.
How about you? You ever been, have you really felt the pinch at all on sanctions?
No, not really. The only thing I can't get is a good motorcycle.
Store that you haven't got and you would like to have, but you can't because of sanctions? That's the fact. Is there anything you'd like in this store that you can't have because of sanctions?
Nothing at all, or at least with one or two minor exceptions, and they are mainly caused by the restrictions imposed upon us by our local Department of Commerce and Industry.
So you can go anywhere in the world and get whatever you like?
Effectively, that is the position, yes.
Can you tell me where you get them from and how you get them?
No, I'm afraid not.
I'm afraid you'd say that, but I mean, how do these things get there? I mean, does the manufacturer know and he's sending them to you?
I will make this point that most of the manufacturers who supply us are totally unaware that their goods are coming to Rhodesia.
That's a fact. I mean, you're not saying that to be diplomatic.
No, in my experience, that's a fact.
Let's just get out of the sun of this music. You've said a number of times to me privately that the new African, the young, black, articulate African in Rhodesia is now pushing for much sterner stuff.
Right. I think, because the government has been making more discriminatory and more repressive laws, a lot of people are now fed up with the government. In fact, I think a few weeks ago, some people were found guilty in the High Court for guerrilla training. They were recruiting people in Salisbury. So I think a lot of people are now prepared to take up arms and going up to the valley.
Is there a hardline attitude coming out among the young blacks here?
Well, I think so, yes.
How can you describe it?
There is no hope for an African here. There's job discrimination, poor housing, conditions, and people feel, whichever way, you're just dying. They're just fed up. And the thing is to take up arms now and
do you know
effect
people?
A change in the country.
Do you know people? I mean, your own friends who would be willing or have joined guerrilla organizations?
So I think that's a dangerous question to.
It's a dangerous question. Do you know of people, or are there people in Salisbury who are now volunteering for guerrilla training?
Oh, I think a lot of people are going up to the valley now. In fact, some people were arrested just before they boarded a bus in Harare to go up to the valley to fight.
You said people are fed up here. Is this fed-upness enough to make people become violent?
Yes, I think people are being assaulted mentally. The system here. And I think it's enough to get them, to take up arms and fight.
You know, what surprised me was last week there was a pop festival here, wasn't there? A Black
Yes.
African pop festival, and there was some mention of Zimbabwe there, the new
Right.
Rhodesia.
Yeah, I think people are now coming out openly and identifying themselves with the nationalist movement here. I think more so than ever before.
Would this have been? Could people, let's say, a year ago or even 6 months ago, have gone up on a stage and mentioned Zimbabwe, with the secret men around, secret agents around?
Well, I think most people are frightened, special branch. But I think now, this was a surprise to me. People getting up on stage and saying, well, we bring our, Zimbabwe's greetings to Azania in South Africa.
South Africa.
Right.
And this really is new.
I think this is new. This is the first time this has happened in public.
It's the beginning, you think?
I think, yeah, the beginning.
Well, I don't like to think myself as being important in Rhodesia politics, but I think you should have asked your question as to how important ANC is in Rhodesian politics, of which I'm the head.
Okay, how important is the party in this arena?
It is essential. In fact, it is the party.
Do you really, are you still really talking along the lines that there can be a political settlement in this country after what's happened in Mozambique and what's going to happen in Angola?
Well, we believe that what is happening in Angola and Mozambique, in fact, has encouraged us a lot. And when we talk about settlement, it's no more in the sense that the kind that Smith is expecting. As Dr. Chavundoga said yesterday, it has to be an overhauling of the whole system here.
Now the overhauling, overhauling that you're talking about, am I right in assuming by overhauling you mean no longer a political settlement the way Westminster sees it and the way Mr. Smith sees it, but the way maybe ZAPU and ZANU see it, an all-black Rhodesia?
Well, this has been our goal all the time, of course, and all that is happening and all that has been going on has been a goal to that, yes.
So all that's been happening between London and white Rhodesians here has been rather academic.
Well, so far it has been, unfortunately. But I'm hoping that they will begin to be more serious than they've been in the past.
You are known as a moderate. Internationally, you're known as a moderate. But we know now, don't we, that there are young, militant hardliners in Rhodesia, black Rhodesians, who are no longer patient, no longer willing to wait any longer.
Well, all over the world, there are people who want who want things a little stronger than others. That's a natural thing. It's not.
But it's something new here in Rhodesia, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
Can there come a time when political settlements between the whites is out of the question, and that you'll have violence as the only answer?
Well, I cannot say that.
I know you're not a man of violence, Bishop, but I mean, can you, and I'm not saying you'd encourage it, but can you see men around you, some of your own supporters, who've been inside this meeting this morning, insisting on a more militant, more violent policy?
More militant, but not violent, I don't think.
Well, you have violence on your border, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Well, we should, I think, is this movie?
Yeah.
Well, we should in fact be walking down.
All right.
So this goes all the way around the compound?
All the way around. The whole garden, the veggie garden, the pool, everything is inside the enclosure here. And this is continually locked.
Yeah.
Come on.
Control. Sorry to trouble you, Rankin. This is a battery check. Battery check. How do you read, over? Thank you. Out to you. Yes. One up the spout, so on. Right, Pitt. Go and do your...
All right, well, how can it stand with the people you've got working on your farm or on your side?
I'd say the majority, I feel that they're old hands that have been with me for 12 years, and
you trust them?
I look after them, and I'm sure they understand this.
Do you ever see any of these people out in the woods, any of the terrorists, any of the guerrillas?
We've had a couple of close shows. As I said, we've been ambushed once. We've been on the farm and there's a contact going on. My wife and Didi, our little daughter, and myself, checking out a gang stumping when there's automatic fire and
Why don't you just pack up and go?
No, definitely not. We work too hard for this. As I say, it's a good country, and we worked hard for our farm, and no one's going to chase us off.
Told them the design we wanted, so they came. And they said, well, look, we'll let you off half the price if you dig the hole. So we dug the hole for them, and they put the pool in.
I think it's the changing face of Africa, everything going black, slowly but surely. The advance of the black man from, I should say, basically we don't like to see the country falling in the hands of incompetent government. And there is no doubt about it, when a black government takes over, they're not trained, they're not prepared to be trained, and basically they can't run a country. All we want here is peace, a chance to live, bring our children up, and eventually retire. We shan't get that. We've seen it happen all down Africa. We've slowly moved down, and we feel that it's going to happen here within the next 2 to 3 years. It's inevitable. It'll also happen in South Africa eventually. It may take a little longer. But we feel we've got to make our plans to move before it starts to happen in South Africa.
You said you've seen it happening all the way down Africa. You've been to Kenya and Zambia?
Yes, I was flying for a firm based in Kenya for some years, and they eventually pulled out of Kenya. They were involved in building the dam there, and Kenya went completely black. Then, while we were in northern Rhodesia, as it was then, we saw the exodus from Congo and all the terrible things that happened there when the Belgians pulled out. We eventually had to move out of Zambia, and then it went black.
And now you've seen Mozambique, of course.
And now, of course, Mozambique situation has got to the state where we can no longer even go to Mozambique. So we feel rather hemmed in with only one road out of this country. One route only.
That's across by bridge.
By bridge.
You were just leaving that it's only a matter of years now before this becomes a black country.
There's every indication that this will happen. We don't want it to be. We'd like to blindfold ourselves and pretend it isn't going to happen. But that might be terribly short-sighted. So we have to just keep our eyes and ears open and be prepared to do something if this does become an eventuality.
So if it wasn't for the children...
Very sorry to go. I think it's a beautiful country. It would have a wonderful future if it had the right government. Present government, as far as I'm concerned, is fine. It's doing a good job under difficult circumstances. It's doing the best job it can do. But unfortunately, it cannot continue to hold things in the face of the advance of the black man.
Okay, cut.
One, two, three, I-dee-dee-dee-I-dee-I-dee-I-dee-oh, I-dee-dee-dee-I-dee-I-dee-oh. I've won lots of prizes by dancing. I'm a wonderful dancer, aren't I? She won, yes, she's very deaf. 1, 2, 3, 2.
Is there, in your opinion and the people that you mix with, any place for a white man in a black Zimbabwe?
Definitely no. I don't think so. And my reason for thinking this is that we have had for a very long time in this country African leaders and politicians trying to get some kind of compromise with the white establishment, and this has been persistently rejected. And the evidence is so clear before us now that these people are determined to subjugate us to white supremacy in perpetuity. And I don't think it is humanly possible to remove the opposition which has grown up in African minds to the presence of the white men here.
I'm afraid time is running out. It is not going to be, it seems to me that each day as I see events, as I watch people, as people talk to me, they are running out of patience. And I don't know how long they will wait.
Are we talking now of months?
We are talking of months. We are talking of something under 2 years.